of all, I would like to thank you for giving us this opportunity. My name is Anne Watanabe, and I play the role of a journalist in the drama Japan Thinks People of Hope. The drama is inspired by a Japanese masterpiece novel, Japan Thinks, which was first made into a movie in 1973 and has been remade many times. We believe this drama will be especially meaningful because we are in a time of critical environmental issues. And because I am a mother of 3 young children, I have always had a keen interest on environmental issues and how they affect our lives. So, first question. The drama Japan Thinks People of Hope depict the crisis that is the consequence of humans prioritizing economic wealth over the Earth's environment. It's a fiction, but I believe that it is relevant to our current situation. Recently, the IPCC issued a statement that global warming is a crisis caused by humans. What do you think is the biggest hurdle in solving the problem of global warming?
Well, let me first thank you, Ms. Watanabe. It's a real honor and a pleasure for me to have this chance to meet with you, even if it's this way. And I send you greetings from beautiful Kenya. Look, I think it's very relevant, and it's very important to use art in the way that you describe, because art and entertainment can convey something. And here, you reference the IPCC report. Now, that's a panel of hundreds of world-class scientists who've looked at this and who've looked at climate and who sort of have said, look, we have a problem. They're saying this to humanity. The trouble is that these brilliant scientists, including many from Japan, I should add, have been saying this for 30 years. And we, the world, we've listened, but we didn't hear. We didn't take action. We didn't do what we know we need to do. Drive down our CO2 emission, change our economic practices. Here in the United Nations and the United Nations Environment Program, we speak about these 3 environmental crises, planetary crises: the climate crisis, the biodiversity and nature crisis, and the pollution and waste crisis. And each of these are threatening to pull the rug from under our feet. We are seeing rising sea levels, which is why the title of the movie is very apt. But we are also seeing heating temperatures, more storms that have greater intensity. We are seeing more fires. We are seeing harvest failures. We are seeing new diseases that we did not know could exist. And we are seeing massive biodiversity loss and, of course, pollution. And so understanding that we, the people who live on this good planet, are part of its ecosystem, and that our footprint can be detrimental and destructive, or it can be positive. And then finding out how we reshift back to that positive way. And this is where I'm quite hopeful, because we are now heading to COP26, and we have to have a strong commitment now to reduce carbon emissions. Now, that will then mean that governments have to deliver strong promises. So the COP26 that will come in Glasgow will matter a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel actually now we feel big change now. Yeah, so it's so meaningful making this drama.
I think you're right, because I think it highlights to people through a media and through popular culture some of these challenges, and conveying to people the reality, although it is fiction, of course, of what happens when we push nature and when we push climate, when we emit CO2 into nature and into our atmosphere, when we pollute too much. That impact that we have is very detrimental. Look, today, we humans have altered 77% of the land surface of our planet. We have altered our seas. We have changed the very climate through CO2 emissions. So unlike in past generations, we now have this responsibility in our hands, because what we do or don't do right now will impact the future. We've never had this responsibility before as humanity. We are actually, our actions, we are holding them in our hands. And so it's very important to use entertainment and the entertainment industry to convey these messages.
Thank you. And next question. The Japanese government is actually aiming to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 2030. Do you think it is possible to achieve this goal, and what needs to be done in order to achieve this goal?
It's absolutely possible and it's absolutely doable, but it will take some hard work, and we salute both the Japanese commitment to net zero by 2050 and the overall reduction that they have indicated, so that you highlighted there. I think what we need to see is a gear shift to move away from coal and hydrocarbon-based fuels into renewable, into hydro and non-polluting opportunities and options. Japan has an amazing cadre of highly skilled engineers and technical people. You have been on the forefront of invention in many sectors. So I have every faith that with strong government guidance, the industry can lean in and make these shifts. On vehicles, you're already beginning in your vehicle industry to shift to e-mobility. So there's a lot there already happening. And we are seeing, 444 local jurisdictions made a pledge to make significant shifts as well. So we are seeing both at the local level as well as at the national level. Now what we need to see is that each government, because we have to accept that Japan has high emissions per capita, you are the third highest per capita CO2 emitter, so there is some way to journey. So therefore getting this now in place, these policies that can shift our CO2 energy producing sectors, it is energy of course, and the vehicular sector, is important. Some countries have experimented by incentives for people to buy electric cars, and of course putting in the infrastructure so that I can easily charge my car. These kind of incentives are very helpful, and they're beginning to roll out in Japan. But strong government push in these directions and strong regulatory setting will certainly enable it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should also mention just quickly, is that Japan has done many, many things previously. Let's remember that you were the host in 2010, and I was pleased to be in the Aichi prefecture for the COP 10 of biodiversity. And so on the nature front, Japan is doing a very good job and has really been leaning in. And we should also remember that Japan is the place where the Minamata Convention that deals with mercury was born. After the disaster that happened there, Japanese people made that convention happen, and now it is a global convention. So you have a legacy of environmental activism and environmental politics that has been positive. And so we have faith in the Japanese people that they will lean in on climate as well.
Yes, we did it. And in the drama, I played the role of a journalist. What role do you expect the media to play in global warming and environmental issues?
Look, the media is critical, and I'm so happy you play that role of a journalist in the movie, because the media holds up the mirror to society about the facts, the information, the data, the evidence. The media also calls out across the world when companies don't follow the law, or when, and that's what happened on Minamata, by the way. So the media calls out some of these issues and can hold everyone, including our politicians, to account. The media uncovers things and exposes things, and they should obviously do so with facts and with data, with evidence, with science. And that's what good media does. They do investigative reporting, they follow the leads, and I believe that that's what you're doing in the movie that we are referencing.
Yes. And as the leader of UNEP, what kind of leadership role do you intend to play in order to achieve the goals?
You know, sometimes I feel like I sound like a broken record. I say the same thing over and over and over again because I need to reach the whole world on these key messages. I also need to make sure that they are understood. Talking complex science is not so helpful. So taking the science and in a way translating it into something that people can relate to in their everyday lives. No one likes to have their children suffer from asthma, but why do the children suffer from asthma? Because over 90% of us are breathing dirty air. So conveying not just the facts, but also how that impacts us humans matters, right? And so I think we are, in a way, the environmental conscience here at UNEP of the world, and we seek to deliver the science to people. So yes, I say the same thing many times. I think that's what I have to do, but I also have to be out there creating coalitions and awareness and creating a movement for change. At least I try to, and having the opportunity to speak with someone like you is very much part of what I try to do.
Thank you. And I want to ask you about gender. In the drama, I play a journalist that challenges the Japanese government, but it's a male-based government, which is still a problem in Japan. Have you any difficulty being a female leader?
I've certainly had them on my journey. I think every woman who stands out in public society has had a journey. And I'm old enough to have had many years in my career where I was the only woman in the room, and everyone else around the table were older, grayer men. And I've found often that as a woman you have to work twice as hard, be twice as smart, be twice as efficient, twice as effective, and only then do you get noticed. Now, and that has been part of my journey and many other women like me, I'm sure. Now that some of that is beginning to shift a little bit, but I think that women getting their roles just by merit alone is not necessarily what happens. We need to, because women are smart and women do great, but they're not seen. And so we need to be louder and more influential and better and smarter and faster, often just to get noticed. Now, at this point, I would say that in the United Nations, we have a Secretary General who says that he's a staunch feminist and who really pushes on gender-related issues. And so many societies, and you referenced Japanese society, still are very male-dominated in many ways. There is an expectation of the role that women should have in many societies. But I think what we should just do is to step into the roles that we feel we want and claim them. That's what you are doing, and that certainly has been part of my journey too. And I think that this is the only way forward. And I'm so happy when I see, for example, young Japanese women who are active and who are studying sciences and who are engaging in the field of their passion. That's the way of the future. I believe that the younger generations are challenging status quo, and they are grabbing more and more of that change mood. And I believe that young Japanese men will want to see that too, so that they can also be part of that modern society.
Yeah. The female leader like you gave us means all women bravely. Gender equality is a big issue in Japan too. And as a mother of 3 small children, I found it very difficult to teach them about gender. How do you think we should teach children about gender?
I think we should teach every child, boy or girl, that they should be the best that they can be. That there's no destiny that is a given. That the destiny is that which they choose. That there's no role that is preferential to another. getting married and having children is a desire by many boys and girls. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's also nothing wrong with having a career. And we live in a society where dual career couples will need to ensure that both carry an equal burden at home as well as in the workplace. So I think teaching children that you can be anything, you can do anything, you just need to step into the world with that confidence, with that self-assurance, not caring too much about what people say, but living up to the morals and the ethics that are right, but living a full life, a 360 degrees life that brings you pleasure and brings you fulfillment. And that often includes, obviously, motherhood for the girls, fatherhood for the boys, but it also includes to teach that generation these values. And to show them role models. You are a role model. You are out there, you are working in society, but you are also a mother and you have a family life. And I think that being that full person is what we should teach our children. Our Secretary General always says, when he speaks to young girls, he says, power is not given, it is taken. And so this idea that you don't wait for someone else, for the men to give you the place, you just take it and begin to change society that way. I think that this is what we teach children and let them be full people. And of course, our boys have a responsibility to make space and to see that, in fact, a wealthy society is a society where boys and girls are fulfilled and where they have equal opportunity in every way, and where the burdens at home and at work are equally shared.
Yeah, actually, I myself understand gender equality. However, I also feel that there's still some values that I cannot get right off. For example, my son has older sisters, so he likes to imitate them in closely and hairstyle, like girly hair or girly clothes. And sometimes I'm not sure how much I should respect that, but I think I have to respect. But
well, I think that you know, it's an interesting thought, isn't it? But we have the very famous Korean boy band, where actually the boys are good looking, handsome, but they have a little bit of effeminate style around them. Yeah. And is that a bad thing? No. It just is great, and they make good music, and they are wonderful artists. So I think all boys and girls, they go through stages of experimenting. And yeah, I think that that's fine. I had two older brothers, I'll tell you. I was very much playing with cars and getting dirty. And then I became a woman. So, you know, there's a journey for all of us.
I have my older brother, so I grew up like boy.
There you go.
Yeah. I played baseball.
Exactly.
And yeah, recently SDGs has been a big topic worldwide, and as an actress, I hope that entertainment can give a positive impact towards a better future, including SDGs. And how do you feel about the power of entertainment?
I think entertainment is a very powerful tool. I think all the arts are superbly powerful. Look, sometimes we in UNEP, we convey all the facts and the data and the numbers and the percentages and the outcomes and the results and all of this. But it's people like you and your industry that can take this and convey it with emotion and reach people's hearts as well as their minds. It's when you sit riveted looking at the movie or the TV series, or you look at a piece of art, or you listen to beautiful poetry, that moves us in a different way maybe than all the science. So I think combining these things and conveying it in a way that brings out knowledge and insight and depth, but also a degree of realization and an understanding at a deeper level, I think that matters a lot. And the SDGs, these 17 goals that we agreed as a human community back in 2015 at the United Nations General Assembly are a beautiful set of priorities that cannot be ignored. Ending poverty, ending hunger, educating all the girls, giving equal opportunity, providing water for all, providing energy to all, living decently, protecting our oceans, protecting our nature, making sure that climate is safe and good, having decent jobs, and living in partnerships. Each of these, and working across partnerships to deliver it. Nothing could be more important, right, to any society, to any country, than delivering on these. And so I think that the more we take the SDGs into society, into our schools, into our education system, into our deeper understanding of the societies that we want, the better our societies will be. And it's not that difficult. I think every family in Japan would want to live with these values and would want to have a government and a society that provides these things for them. And so making sure that policies of governments and policies of companies and policies in our communities are aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals matter a lot. And the more we can use the media and entertainment and art and the beauty that in our lives to convey this to us, the more inspired we will be towards internalizing them in our societies. And frankly, taking the SDGs with us into the voting booth when we go to vote for our politicians, taking the SDGs with us when we make decisions about what we buy in the supermarket. Because do we buy things that destroy nature? Is there a lot of plastic and garbage and waste associated with what we buy? Do we throw a lot of things out? So living those values also matter in every way.
And this drama is subtitled People of Hope. And the message is that there is always hope if you don't give up. For you, who would be the person of hope for the future?
You know, it's that young person who is seized with these issues and who takes them upon herself or himself, who organizes, who studies, who exercises their rights in the community to speak out, who understands that the future is theirs and that they have a right to the kind of future that you and I have enjoyed and older people have enjoyed, and that things must change. It's that belief that hope and a better future is possible, and in living those actions. It's that boy or that girl who believes in equality and equity. It's that child who asks the questions and who's given the answers by their mother and the father and the teacher, and society lets them in. I think we need to understand that the society, we always say we borrow the planet from the next generation. Well, we really do. And so we must ensure that we understand that the hope we have, that hope, that person of hope that you speak of, is the person of the future, is, frankly, your 3 children, because they will inherit that future, and they will be the ones that make it better. We have to sweep the road for them, and they will be outspoken, and they will do things we couldn't have imagined, because they will be more advanced than you and I, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, exactly. We have to change and make good future. Yeah. And the last question, and we are hoping that this drama will help raise awareness and environmental issues in Japan. So lastly, please give a message to our viewers.
I would say that the future is in your hand. What you do or don't do impacts the future. Get inspired by this movie, get inspired by this entertainment, and take some actions yourselves. Take action on the way we live, on the way we consume and produce. Take action on the way we can teach our children, because these are existential crises, but it doesn't have to end badly. We can make a change, and that's why we have to keep hope. And so that would be my message to the Japanese viewers.
Thank you for your time today. It was a great pleasure talking to you.
It was my pleasure and
Very nice
privilege.
meeting
Thank
you.
you so very much for having us.